Okay. Hi, everybody. It has been a few weeks. I've had a little bit of physical illness, and so the last thing you want to do is be on camera. But today, Tarot Tuesday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start giving you more tarot tips and ways to look at the cards to give deeper meaning to your readings, and also to give you a perspective on how to read for yourself. And the first thing you want to do when you're reading for yourself is to not futurize. What do I mean by that? Well, try not to predict your own future, because I don't know about you, but when I started reading cards a long time ago, I might have been much younger and was a little, at the time, boy crazy. And, you know, if a boy looked at me, I read the cards like 27 times to see if he loved me. And the truth is the cards like keep going, really, you're asking this again? So one of the ways to really look at what's going on with you is to look at your patterns and your way of being. And the tarot can help you do that. I actually believe the tarot in and of itself is a little bit different than when I read oracle cards, in the sense that tarot really gives you answers, where I feel that oracle cards give you different pathways. Now, I know some people will disagree with that, but we're going to work with this for right now. So let's look at your week, okay? And let's look at what's going on internally, things to look at. And what I'm going to do, and just because I want to show you from the beginning, is we're going to just go ahead and breathe. And just imagine white light coming down from the heavens. And as you do that, I'm going to ask you, and sometimes people do this, I've done this every once in a while, I'm going to ask you, as you bring that white light down from the heavens, I blow on my cards and I just blow anything off them, anything that is in the way of my seeing what I need to. And I'm going to ask to look at what's going on internally with me and how I can have strength in moving toward what really matters to me. So let's look at personal empowerment for the week ahead. Let's look at what that would look like for you and how to use the cards to do that. So that said, one of the things I do is I breathe, and I always say this a lot when I'm teaching too. I go, breathe, drop your shoulders, because we're holding things all the time. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, as you just breathe and blow on your cards, we're going to pull 3 cards together, okay? And the first card, well, okay, I'm going to read it right side up at first, and I'll tell you why. The first card is 9 of Cups. Great card. The second card is another cup card. Hold on. Ooh, 4, Sorry about that. 6 of Cups. I couldn't see. I'm wearing my glasses. And the third card, I'm just going to ask for the direction. And what I do is I do this. And when I feel a heat from a card, and I was feeling it from this card here, so I was kind of just going like this and just looking up and feeling it. So when I feel the heat from that card, I will turn that card over. So one of the things I want to point out, we're going to look at this together. One of the things that I'm going to point out to you is that in my left hand is the 9 of Cups, and in my right hand is the 9 of Swords. And by the way, some people have this. Sometimes when you read a lot, you'll yawn. I have a friend who hiccups. Sometimes you'll get extremely cold. That's energy moving through you. And the way in which energy moves through you can sometimes feel like a tick of some kind. You know, like some people just like, you know, get antsy. Okay, so let's look at these 2 9s, and you might go, oh my gosh, you know. One of the things I want to remind you of is that in the tarot, in many ways, the 9s are of completion. Think about this for a minute. This is the completion and the satisfaction of a goal. This is the completion of annihilation. It's done. I mean, what's done is done. You cannot go back over that. This is as far as you can go with your goal. So think about this for a minute. If the 9s in the tarot are in fact the finishing cards, that means the 10s start again. And it also means that the 10s become a new direction. So one of the things I want to point out to you is that when you pull a 10, you might also want to be looking at the idea of beginning again. Now, obviously, we didn't pull that this week. but we might next time. So let's look also at, sorry about the light there. There we go. Let's look at the Six of Cups. Now, one of the things that, because I'm working on a tarot deck as well, and it's chakra tarot, so it's all the chakras. And one of the things that comes forward to me when I look at this card, it's sixth chakra, sixth sense, right? So it's revisiting a memory from our past, and it's revisiting something that needs to be revealed to be healed. And that's what I like to say. So if we look at now this spread, right? And I'm going to pull it together as a spread now. If we look at this spread as what it's telling you right now, first of all, we've anchored 2 9s in between the 6. So for me, what this is telling me is it's a culmination of a dream come true. And it's a reminiscing in a way, right? When we look at that 6th chakra, it's a spiritual completion. It's an intuitive path, right? And then when we look at the 9 of Swords, and by the way, this is over. It is over. It is ended. It is done. Now, you know, a lot of people will look at this spread and say, oh, these are awful cards. Oh my gosh, look at that 9. What if we could frame this 9, as being a phenomenally challenging card, but also a powerful card telling you you're done. It's a completion. I'm going to give you an example. You know, for many years I've said, oh, I want to just be a writer. I want to be just writing. Well, guess what? That's finally happened to me. Here it is, right? So what happens with that 6, right? So we're talking about 6th chakra. And also one of the things that I work with a lot in the 6s, in the 6 cards, especially with chakra wisdom in the 6th sense, is I'm really looking at that 6th chakra as being hidden family agreements, things that need to complete. So if I'm looking and reminiscing at something that is actually complete, we can look at a fulfilled goal. Well, what happens here with that 9? I don't have another step right now. I've gotten where I wanted to go, but guess what? It doesn't feel as good. Because there's something about striving, and then when you arrive and you go, ha, you know, I don't know about you, but have you ever booked a hotel or anticipated a trip and then it was a disaster? So this can be a great arrival, but guess what? Arriving may not be what you want it to be. It may not be bringing the, you know, kisses and flowers that you wanted it to bring. So one of the things you want to look at is that it's over. It's over. And one of the things that I want to say a lot, especially if you're a creative, and most of you are, if you're reading tarot cards, you're going to be highly sensitive, you're going to be sensitive, you're going to be intuitive. And one of the things that happens with this 9 is that we go over the top. We don't know how to respond or react to completions. Think about that for a minute. You know, I was working with somebody in my spiritual club with chakra wisdom cards, and she was really challenged because, and I do a once a month thing where I do readings for the members, right? So it's a member night. And one of the things that happened was she said, you know, I'm 1 class away from finishing my degree, and I'm so depressed about it. And I said, wait a second. You know, we're afraid of completion a lot. We're afraid of finishing something because what happens when we're done? It's painful. Think about it. When, you know, you hate school, and then you cry when you leave, and you don't want to go to camp, and then you get to camp and you love it. You know, and what I want to say is completion for many of us, finishing things becomes very painful. And when I said that to her, I said, one of the things you want to get is when you see this 9 of Swords, you want to say to yourself or your client, and if I'm working with myself, I say, you know, this is finished and I enjoyed doing it, and I got what I wanted, but now I'm sad. And it's sad because I enjoyed that process. I enjoyed the achievement. I enjoyed getting there. And there is a point in our life when we have to just lay there and say, now what? You know, and that, by the way, is often when we get ill. And I noticed that for myself. You know, I completely got sick. I had shingles. I have a dog that's not unwell, and that's just, you know, he's old and sad. And there's so many things that are ending, and completions are tough for us. So one of the things I want to say is if you can look at this card as a compassion card, of having compassion for something that's over and it's more painful than it would appear to other people. In other words, yes, this person's dead with one sword and there's the overkill, right? So some people say overkill and drama and all that. I like to say it's extremely painful because we don't know what to do with the pain. And also remember that grief is love without a place to go. So completion is happiness that's over. So where do you go with that fulfillment? And that's why the 9s become important, because when you look at the 10, here, when you look, and I'm calling it a 9 and it's a 10. So I'm sorry about that, everybody. This is really like, it's over. You could see the light coming. I've been saying 9. Ugh. But I meant 10. I meant 10 the whole time. So when we look at the 9 here and the 10 here, 9s are always the completion. 10 is the aftermath. So that's the best way to put it. So what I want to say to all of you is, first of all, don't mistake my 9s here, but really get that the 10, and it's funny because I was looking at this going, wait, it looks like I don't have my glasses on. But the thing is that it's still not read incorrectly. The 10 is the aftermath of the 9. So if you think about the 9 as being the completion, the 10 is what happens after, and it's our ability to just kind of lay there and go, I'm sad about this. So what I want to say to you this week is allow yourself to really look at what your intentions are, reminisce about them, enjoy them, be in them, and recognize that completions have sadness to them. And so when you achieve your goal, there's part of the thing that we don't plan, which is that maybe I might be a little sad. And that's why people say reward yourself. But sometimes, especially as a creative type, we just want to lay there and go, I'm sad. So one of the things I don't want you to do is think that the whole reading's wrong because I mistook this 10 for a 9, because actually it is actually accurate. So if you look at the 9s as being the completion and 10 as the aftermath, now you're looking at it correctly, as I should have from the beginning. So I hope that I gave you some interesting information for this week. I look forward to seeing you next time. And please, if you like what you're seeing, please follow me or just like the channel or something. Just put a little thing down there and subscribe to my channel, because I'm always going to be doing things, and I am going to start a year-long study, coming up in January. So I'll see you guys next week.